welcome to my channel. Welcome to today's video. Today's video is just going to be trying new products. So I did pick up the Pat McGrath bronzer. This is mostly what today's video is going to be about, but I felt like there's just so many videos dedicated solely to this bronzer that I would just throw in some extra things that I haven't tried yet. I have a new concealer, a blush that I've been wanting to try. This is from Rare Beauty, the Fenty highlight, the Diamond Bomb. I have not tried this yet. And I also wanted to pick up the Pat McGrath quad, but I talked myself out of it. And instead, I'm going to try and just dupe the vibe of that quad with some palettes that I have from Pat McGrath already. So that's what today's video is going to be about. If that sounds good to you, make sure you give this video a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't yet. But now let me pull you in a little bit closer and let's just try these products out together. I already did foundation and brows. I am testing out a new foundation and I want to do a dedicated video on that. So you'll have to just check the description box below if you're curious about anything that I'm wearing on my face that I'm not applying with you today. But first, let's start with concealer. So this is not a new concealer whatsoever. This is the Lancome Tint Idole Ultra Wear, but I have yet to try it and I keep seeing Samantha March talk about it. So I just wanted to give it a shot. It kind of just gave me a similar vibe to the Estee Lauder Double Wear concealer, and I really love that concealer. I actually used almost a whole tube of it before it expired. It just expired before I could use it all. So here is what this looks like, and I picked up the shade Ivory Neutral 090. I'm a little nervous. This is going to be very high coverage. So I think on one eye, I'm going to use a brush and one eye a sponge just to see. But here's what the doe foot looks like. It's actually quite large. I can't off the top of my head think of a doe foot that's as big as this one. But let's just apply very little right here. Kind of where I have the most darkness, and I guess I will just highlight a tad. This is a lot less concealer than I'm used to doing. And then I think just for the highlight part, I usually go with that first, just so my under eye has a little bit of time to sit and just build up maximum coverage. So I'm gonna go in with my sponge and blend out the highlight portion first, really quickly. And then I do want to, I think, start with the brush and do the sponge second. So I'm just using this kind of flat concealer brush. This is from Zoeva. This is my only clean one. I'm gonna just dab it out. Just spread it. It is very thick. I think I applied too much, and even this is usually maybe half of what I normally use, but it just looks, it's looking a little stark. I think either I let it dry too much or I need to use my sponge. Okay, going in with the sponge really quickly here so we can soak up some product. Yeah, that's a little bit better, but we're still heading into 2016 concealer category here. It is a little bit lighter for me than maybe I needed, but I'm just gonna hope this soaks it up. Didn't seem as light when I put it on my forehead and my nose and my chin here. You do really just need a very small amount. It's very pigmented, high coverage. Did cover my dark circles. I don't suffer too much from under eye creasing, so I can't really speak on that. Just on darkness, I don't get a lot of sleep. My sleeping schedule is always just crazy weird. I'm just starting my day and it's noon, so that's kind of my life. Now that I have this blended out with my sponge, it's looking a lot less stark. It's still looking a little bit really light in the camera, but sometimes when I go back and edit, the color balances out. So I'll just have to wait and see. However, this is very smooth. It is like a demi-matte finish. So if you like a hydrating under eye, I don't think this is gonna be for you. I usually always set my concealer, and I even brought my powder out from Shop My Stash, but I'm almost thinking I don't need to set this because it is so matte. Most of my concealers have been more on the hydrating side as of late. The Givenchy Skin Caring Concealer, I did a review on that. I can link above. I love that concealer. Even the Huda Beauty Luminous Matte Concealer is more luminous than this. This is very matte. So I don't mind it though. I don't hate it. I actually really enjoy the coverage. I did decide I'm gonna set it just a little bit right under the eye. It just feels, it feels not natural to just not set it. So I am going to just right underneath there, just fan it out a little because this is kind of like a blurring powder. And I do always just powder right on the bridge of my nose for my glasses to try and help the foundation from not completely separating and sliding all over the place. But I think that that's all the powder that I'm gonna use. Moving on to bronzer, the star of the show. This took forever to get to me. Is anyone surprised? I'm not. So I picked up the shade Nude Honey. I think people even got their Sephora orders before everyone who ordered on launch day got theirs. So that's why I'm kind of just doing an all-encompassing video, because it seemed a little pointless to put this in a dedicated one. But I am really excited about it. It looks like a lot of people are liking this. I haven't seen too many reviews. And if I could open it, I would show you what it looks like. So here's the shade Nude Honey. I picked this one because it looked the most neutral. The third shade, so this is the second shade, Nude Honey. The third shade looked a lot more warm and maybe a smidge too deep. And then the light one just looked way too light. It seems like Nude Honey is the most popular right now. That's the one I'm seeing everyone pick up. But it does have the really nice, just like crown embossing, if you can see it in the light there. And it does drive me a little bit crazy that it's not completely straight, but that's okay. So now I'm gonna go into this. I should go in with this because it's kind of like a cream blush, but I wanna try the Pat McGrath bronzer first. I was gonna go in with my Morphe brush. This is a M530. It's just the clean bronzer brush that I have on hand. Didn't feel like washing my Sonia G one. I'm just gonna go in and kind of first tap because I don't want to apply too much. It is very powdery, or it's just this brush, but it's kicking up like everywhere on this. And it is a nice neutral shade. You don't need a lot because I did not apply that much. I did one dip for both sides of my face here. And considering I didn't powder my foundation, now it could be the foundation, but it's not skipping or being muddy or sticking to any spots. I'm sure if you had a more hydrating foundation, this is like a really nice natural foundation, it might stick, but it is not doing any of those things. And it is kind of like a perfect just sun-kissed bronzer. I would hope so for the price. I'm gonna just go over my forehead here. So just gonna pinch the brush and do like a very light sun-kissed contour on my nose, and then just kind of blend it out. It doesn't have to be precise. I just want there to be a little bit of dimension there. This is nice. Actually, I really like the tone of this. It seems like a lot of bronzers that have been coming out have just been so warm toned, and I really prefer a more neutral, cool undertone in a bronzer. I don't just want like that sunburnt look. If I want that look, I usually go with more of a sunburnt blush kind of situation. So this is really nice. I think that it's perfect. It's like nice and subtle, but defining at the same time. I am really excited to keep using this, but let's move on to blush because this has been on my wish list for years, like years and years, and I finally decided to pick it up. So this is the Rare Beauty Cream Blush. Everyone's seen this. I know everyone's seen this. I know that the liquid blush is more popular, but for some reason, this just intrigued me more. I still have yet to try the liquid blushes. I haven't tried almost anything from Rare Beauty. The only thing that I've tried is the mascara, which I love. Here's what this looks like. I have the shade Nearly Neutral, so it's just like this really pretty neutral mauve rose shade, and it is a cream. It's a lot creamier than I was expecting. I hadn't swatched this yet. This is just a Smashbox Cream Cheek Brush. Again, just the clean one that I had, and I'm gonna stipple it. And right off the bat, this is not very pigmented. So I know that her liquid blushes are very, very pigmented. I think everyone knows that by now. So I kind of was expecting this to be a little bit more pigmented, but maybe this is just like her answer to the opposite end of the spectrum. It's not bad. You just have to build it up. The formula is very thin, so it doesn't look like it's just building and building and it's very cakey looking. It builds and still looks natural. I think that this is something I would just more wear if I was wearing a tinted moisturizer or I was trying to be very minimal with my makeup. I don't think that this is something you'd wear if you're trying to just really go all out and be strong with the blush. It is nice though. I do like the formula a lot. It's just different than what I was expecting it to be. This has its place. I just don't know if it's gonna go completely with this look because the highlight that I have is an out of this world highlight. This is How Many Carets, the original Diamond Bomb from Fenty. Now, a while ago, maybe like a month or two ago, I tried a different color of this and I was surprised at how much I liked it. So I decided to pick up the original because I just didn't understand the hype. I really thought this was going to be a straight glitter bomb on the face. I'll figure out which video it was and link it above. But I don't know, this like looks scary. I still decided to pick it up because I loved that first one just so much. It was definitely glittery, but without being too much. And now I'm just worried because we kind of have like a very natural makeup look going on. So I'm gonna go very light-handed with this. This is just a highlight brush and hopefully it's gonna diffuse it like I want it to. It doesn't look clean, but it is. It just has kind of like staining. So I'm gonna kind of just go like this, right like that. Can't tell if I can't see it because I'm not wearing my glasses or if it's just like not there. The other Diamond Bomb that I had more of a pink base to it. And since this is clear, it's just like not showing up, or I can't see it. Okay, I can see it in the camera with the lights reflecting. Just in my mirror, I can't. I do have very poor eyesight though, so that could be it. I gotta look really close, but the sparkle is there. There is definitely like glitter. It's not a shimmering highlight. It's not a smooth or a metallic highlight. It's exactly what I was expecting. I just wasn't expecting the base to be so clear because it still looks white. So I was kind of still expecting a little bit of something, but it is a little bit more just subtle than what I was thinking. I'm trying to figure out my words here because it's subtle, but at the same time, when it hits the light that perfect way, it's like, it's impactful. So I don't think it ruined my look whatsoever. Like from right here, it still looks really nice, natural with the blush. I'm liking all of this so far, but then when I like tilt my head, it's like, okay, she's wearing a highlight, that's for sure. And I'm not mad at it. I was a little just nervous that this was going to take this up about 10 notches, but it's looking okay so far. Now that complexion's done, I went through my Pat McGrath collection and tried to pull some shades similar to the new quad that came out with her bronzer collection. So I'm gonna go through those with you, try and come up with a look that maybe you can also do if you don't wanna buy just like a plain neutral eyeshadow quad for $62. I do think that that quad is really pretty. I was very tempted to pick it up, but I decided, you know, I was a little bit disappointed with the Love collection and the price point of it. It wasn't a bad collection. However, Pat McGrath does 40% off so often that in the back of my mind, it was hard to get over knowing that I paid retail price for it when I could have gotten it for 40% off. So I'm resisting the urge to pick up that quad until the 40% off comes up, and then I'll decide then. But maybe I won't have to because I can exactly just come up with the same look with shades I already have from her. So let's throw up a picture of what that quad just looks like and then go in and look at these shades. The two palettes that I picked out is one from the Love collection that I just spoke about. This is Velvet Liaison. So it is her all matte palette she came out with. Let me hold it right side up. And I was kind of thinking that even these two shades, this one and this one, kind of looked like the two mattes in that palette. And then for the shimmer shades, I pulled out Midnight Sun. So this like purple one here. I'm a little bit torn. I think that the special shades in there, I'm not sure what the finish is. Those are a little bit harder because one of them looks very, very bronze gold. So here's Midnight Sun, and it kind of looks like a mix between this gold and then this gold. So this one's one of her Blitz Astral shades, and then this is just more of a shimmer. And then the light one kind of also looks like a mix of these two. So I think just for today, I'm gonna more stick to these because these are the special shades, the Blitz Astrals, that you can only get in the motherships, unless you got those quads that came with the 4 special shades that she came out with one year. And I think that that's just gonna be more my journey because like these here, you know, this is not a special formula and is not very unique to Pat McGrath. I think you could go into a different palette and find something like that. So that's why I kind of just want to stick to Pat McGrath and also just stick to a formula she's really well known for. Now, I don't think we're gonna get any kind of special crazy eye look out of this. This is gonna be really quick and easy because it is a very neutral palette. Yes, you could probably do like some cool stuff graphic wise, but I'm gonna keep it pretty simple. I did already prime my eyes using my Smashbox primer. So I'm just gonna go in and I'm gonna go in with this lightest shade here. So these two are the ones that I'm gonna use out of this palette, which is Barely Veiled and Midnight Mink. So Barely Veiled, and I'm just gonna go in and define my crease a little bit. This is a rougher 15. And I'm not gonna do anything crazy with this. So now that I have this in the crease, now that I have it Barely Veiled in there, I'm gonna go into Midnight Mink, just darken the outer corner with a smaller brush. Just teeny tiny bit, and then blend that out right here. Now going into Midnight Sun, so this is the shade Jubilee, and then this is the shade Astral Solstice. I'm just gonna go in with my finger, go into Jubilee, and put that more on the outer half of the lid. And going in with Astral Solstice, I'm gonna tap that on the inner part, and kind of maybe just because I prefer this shade, I don't like really, really gold shades. I'm gonna bring it over the gold just a little bit. And that's really it for the look. I'm just gonna go back quickly into Velvet Liaison and do the bottom lash line. Just taking that lighter brown and then lightly dipping in with the darker brown to tie it in. That's the finished look. I do think just with this Midnight Sun, looking at it, you could even use these two matte shades to kind of get the vibe. This darker brown specifically, this lighter brown, I just decided to go with Velvet Liaison over this because this just seemed a little bit more of a yellow-based brown versus the neutral brown that I was looking for. But if you have Midnight Sun, I don't think you'd even need that new quad. I think you could dupe it just with this palette alone is what I'm saying. Like, I don't even think you need this Velvet Liaison palette. But before I do the other eye off of camera, I want to quickly do lips. So this is a very little small sample. I got this Valentino lipstick sample when I bought the Valentino concealer. I also did a dedicated review that I can link. So I figured, why not try this? This is the shade 100R, and it's just like a pretty rosy nude. I don't know if that's gonna go with this look, but that's okay. I'm gonna try it anyways. I'm just gonna take my Natasha Denona I Need a Nude lip liner in Natasha and line my lips just a little. And this is more nude, so maybe it'll bring out the nude in that lipstick. Well, unfortunately, I already broke this when I had it twisted up, but that's okay. It's just a mini. But that means it's a very emollient, so be careful. It's not like I paid for it though, so I'm not going to complain too much. We'll kind of just be gentle. Here it is. It's a nice satin formula. It's a little bit thick. I don't think normal people who wear lipstick every day would think that it's thick, but I usually wear a more sheer, balmy type of lip product. I don't normally go for a more opaque lip, and I kind of just rely on a lip liner for color. It's not bad. The color is actually better than I was expecting. I think it ties into the blush really nicely. I just don't know if it goes completely with the eye look. I would have picked something a little bit more brown based. That's okay though. So now that I've tried all the new products, I'm going to quickly just do this eye off of camera, apply mascara, and come back and just give you my first impression thoughts on all of these products. I'm back. The look is completed. So let's just go over all these products here. I'm liking most of these. Now, I did add the Fenty Diamond Balm into my inner corner just a little bit to tie it all together. And I guess let's just start with this. I don't love this. This is actually probably out of everything what I like the least. You know, I don't know what it is about it, if it's just the shade, because I really loved the first Diamond Balm that I tried, and this just didn't live up to that. Basically, if I had tried this one first, I would not have picked up that second shade. I only picked up this shade because I loved that other shade that I tried first. So this is just not an everyday for me. I could see myself using this more as a single shadow, but like this is a lot of product for a single shadow and not really worth it in my opinion. And the other thing is just, you know, it looks nice as a highlight, but when I was getting up close doing my other eye, like I could really just take a closer, more detailed look at my face. And this is not, I repeat, this is not a highlight that you use on your forehead, down the bridge of your nose. If you're someone who's used to doing that like I am, not the highlight for that. It just looks like I have glitter fallout all over my face. Some of that is from the Pat McGrath shadow. I'll talk about that in a little bit because that's just known for fallout. And if I wasn't doing this video, I would have done my eyes first. I knew going into this, the Astral shades just have a little bit more fallout, but it's not from that. It's from this highlight. So not my favorite shade. You'll have to let me know down below in the comments your thoughts on all of these products, but most disappointed about this. As far as like the main star of today's video, the bronzer, I do like this bronzer. I will say that I think in the last 10 minutes or 20 minutes since doing this video, it's faded a little bit. Even though I did blush on top of the bronzer, still even with that, like I think the bronzer's kind of faded in color. So I don't know how long lasting this is. It's not a standout bronzer. Like I don't think you need to run out, get this at full price. If you're a Pat McGrath lover, wait for a 40% off sale. Even then, like the formula of this is not anything to write home about. Love the tone. I love the tone of this. That's what stands out the most to me is the shade range of these bronzers. I don't know just what this bronzer really holds in my collection as far as just standing out. I think it's just a mediocre bronzer and I'm happy I have it, but wish I would have paid a little bit less for it. One of my favorite things that I tried is probably the blush. Even though I was a little unsure when I was applying it to my cheeks, this is very just sheer coverage and I did build it up, but unlike the bronzer, like you can still see the blush on my cheeks. So I do really like this. It's not sticky, even though it's a cream. I didn't powder on top of this. I also just love how small it is compared to other blushes in my collection. Like this is just nice, cute, and compact. And I also really like this concealer. It is, like I mentioned, a little bit more matte than I'm used to. I think I'm looking a little bit more matte overall than what I'm used to looking like. But the coverage on this is nice. I think that maybe if you like a little bit more of a hydrating eye, you could mix it if you're high maintenance like that. But if you're looking for something with coverage, this will give it to you, because I think I have to put this up against my Huda Beauty, because that's one of my most full coverage concealers, and it rivals that. The only difference is the Huda Beauty has a little bit more luminosity to it. So I'm going to put those up side by side and just see which one I like. Of course, this is all first impressions on these products. So I do always come back later on after I've tested these products a little bit more and just go over more detailed thoughts, because sometimes my opinions change. I find better ways to make these products work for me. I'll link the last one that I did up above. Just sometimes first impressions aren't the end all be all. And then what else do we have to talk about? I think that's it. The lipstick's nice. It's not my type of formula. It already broke, so it is super creamy. That's pretty typical for like a little mini, but I don't know. Something about just like cream lipsticks or thicker lipsticks, not like a balmy lipstick, I always just get a little self-conscious about, because I have lip lines. We all have lip lines. I know logically that lip lines are nothing to be ashamed of. However, when you're looking at Instagram all day and you see like the perfectly plumped lip lines, something about that just like it just gets to me a little bit in my head. So seeing the lip lines, I don't love that. They're not emphasized. Like I wouldn't say product is collecting in there, but if you have like really deep noticeable lip lines, I don't know that you'll love this formula. It's noticeably thicker. And then lastly, for the eyeshadow, not that this is new, this is not a first impression, but I really like the look that I came up with. And I said everything that I want to say about that. You don't need that quad. It's not a color story that really stands out. I found the dupes for those 4 shades pretty quickly, I would say. I didn't like go through all my Pat McGrath palettes, lay them out on the floor and, swatch and compare them. I picked out like 2 or 3 palettes, and even instantly, I knew that this one would be like a close dupe probably. Now, I don't have that palette to like exactly shade match it to, but I can guarantee that this is basically the look you're gonna come up with. All that to say, even if you don't have these 2 palettes, I guarantee you have 2 neutral matte browns in your collection, as well as a gold shimmer and a champagne shimmer. And that will satisfy your crave until Black Friday comes along, or some kind of Pat McGrath sale if you really want to pick that palette up. So I would just hang tight. In the beginning of this, I still kind of wanted that palette, but after doing this eye look, I think it's just going to be something that I skip altogether, even at 40% off. That's just my thoughts on these products so far. Like I mentioned, I always love to hear your feedback down below. Let me know if you've tried any of these products, since not all of them are too new. Make sure you're subscribed and stick around so you can see my follow-up video when I go over all these products after testing them more. But that's all that I have for you all today. I hope everyone's having a great day, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye, everyone.